Um, you are stuck with me inside today. Jack and I were going to work out in the field today, but due to the sub-zero wind chill, we thought that we would reschedule. So I'm sure he is at home bashing his head in the wall from boredom. I, on the other hand, thought it would be a good idea to try to crack into this video idea that I've had for a minute. I've tried a few different ways to make this, but honestly, I think like the streaming sort of setup is the way to do this in the most informal way as I can. I wanted to touch on this body of research about systemic induced resistance in trees. So, back in 2024, I went to the TCI Expo to talk with, or to not to talk, to listen to a talk by Dr. Glenn Percival, where he went over his 20 something years of research in this field. And it was the first I'd heard of it, and I thought it was quite compelling. So, this whole subject, I think, is pretty cool and has a lot of cool application that you will probably also find cool if you like taking care of trees. So, yeah, as I said, this body of research has been going on for a while. This one I found from July of 2001, again by Dr. Percival. Yeah, the gist is that you can apply these certain compounds to trees, either to the soil or as a foliar application, to boost the defense of a tree or a plant, I suppose. And this is different than the regular approach where, like pesticides, in the most literal sense, are killing some sort of pest agent. Um, an insecticide kills insects, a fungicide kills fungi. The What's different about the induced resistance stuff is that you're having no effect on the pathogens themselves, and you're affecting only the host, which is a pretty cool thing, especially when we're moving towards like not killing everything in the environment anymore. While plant health is important, this is sort of like a newer approach to doing that. I think Dr. Percival talked in his lecture at TCI that the origin of this stuff was, he's from the UK. I'm not sure where specifically, but they have a lot more stringent and strict pesticide laws than we have in the States. And so they still have disease pressure there, obviously, and they were trying to come up with different ways to manage those things. They found a number of different compounds that have this sort of defense buff outcome with certain plants. Um, Before we sort of talk about this a little bit more, I just want to say that if you yourself go through this rabbit hole, keep in mind that some of this stuff is, over nearly 25 years old. Okay. So just be mindful of that when you're reading each article, and that you want to make judgments on the whole body of research, not just, one article's worth. So some of these agents are very like common things. Salicylic acid derivative is just like aspirin. Liquid chitosan. I knew what chitin was, but I had to look it up. According to Google's AI, chitin comes from the exoskeletons of crustaceans, cell walls of fungi, and some vertebrates, insects. Another one such IR agent was harpin protein. And I had to look this up too. And apparently you can buy these products already. Yeah, I wasn't sure what harpin proteins were. Um, According to the EPA, harpin is one of a class of proteins produced in nature by certain bacterial plant pathogen. I'm not really sure if that answers what that is. Origin of harpin protein. Um, so this harpin protein causes diseases in plants. Um, I wonder if this is similar to like vaccination concepts where you have an exposure to a small dose of something, but plants don't have an immune system in the way that mammals do. I'm not really sure what the harpin protein stuff's all about, but it's in there. Um, oh yeah, it even says it in the study. Commercially available agents. Yeah, so you can just buy the stuff. So I think this stuff has a lot of interesting applications, and especially when we're trying to move away from the chronic usage of high-powered, especially when we are trying to move away from the chronic usage of high-powered pesticides. This stuff hasn't been tested with everything, but some of the concepts that are being revealed in these studies are pretty cool. And as like general stress reductive stuff, this stuff is important for all of us to keep our eye on for managing trees. One of the most recent one that I was looking at was talking about. This one came out in January of 2025 this year. They make an interesting point in their conclusion section. Prospect that certain eliciting substances have the ability to stimulate long-lasting induced responsiveness is positive for tree managers, as it means acute exposure could provide enhanced resistance for weeks or longer. This is really cool, essentially, and this is intuitive, I suppose, but some of these products have a longer lasting effect than others. Those effects being uh, like phenol accumulation and like the production of certain enzymes. Um, some of them can last for longer, which is sweet. That's, I think, what we're particularly interested in. Um, Most bang for your buck kind of thing. We showed that chitosan and curdlan were able to elicit elevated defense associated enzyme activities relatively rapidly, and that curdlan and phosphite were able to elevate responses longer term. Again, so I'm sort of interested in like the longer term exposure stuff. What is curdlan? According to Google AI, curdlan is a natural, high molecule weight polysaccharide that is used as a food additive and in other applications. Let's see. It's something that's produced by soil dwelling bacteria. A variety of pathogenic and so yeah, this coming up too with the pathogenic stuff and the similarities between vaccination and whatnot. Yeah, all cool stuff. I think this is a body of work that we should all be paying attention to, and maybe doing some of our own little backyard experiments with. That's all I got. I think that yeah, this perhaps was the best way I could make this video, and I didn't want to like do like a hardcore dive into it, but I just wanted to talk about it and bring it to your attention. As a little addition to the end of this video, I just want to point out a lot of these IR agents, like the harpin proteins, like the curdlan, like chitin, these things exist naturally from organic matter in soils. And so this research suggests that trees grown in soils that have an adequate level of organic material in them are going to naturally be exposed to these IR agents. That's all. It's long been stated in arboriculture literature across the board that adding organic material into urban soils is a good thing, and this is probably just one of those reasons why.